So, hello everybody and welcome! Yes, welcome and welcome back here at BSN Network. Here today we welcome you back here at BSN Network. It is Thursday, May 14th. Got a lot of sports to get to today. Hopefully everybody had a good rest of their day yesterday and is having a good day so far today. It is Thursday, one more day, and then it's the weekend. Or one more day, and then it's after tomorrow, it's the weekend. So that's always good, and always look forward to the weekend and stuff, obviously. You know, weekends are really free. You know, you don't have to do much, obviously, with the virus and everything going on. There's not much to do, but, you know, at least the weekends are fun because, there's really just, you can just hang out and, do whatever you really want. So, one more day into the weekend, so that's good. And, yeah, we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. We got Myles Garrett and the Browns. Myles Garrett wants a new contract. Will the Browns give it to him? We're going to talk about that. We're going to do home field advantage, NFL, and the Jets. We're going to talk about the home field advantage. There's a report that came out today, with the possibility of having no fans in attendance for the NFL season, obviously. I've said this millions of times with the virus and everything. There might not even be any fans in any sporting event until a year from now. It really all depends. I do think there'll be fans entered into the NFL season. And during the NFL season, I think mid to end of the season, there will be fans. To start off, I don't think there will be fans. With the MLB season, I do not think there are going to be fans at all. It's just too early to do an NFL season. I mean, it goes into January and February. So I think at least by the Super Bowl, there will be fans. There will definitely be fans at the Super Bowl. But I do think there will be fans in the NFL season. Start off, no. First couple weeks, probably not. But definitely do think that there will be fans later on. And then there's some Trevor Bauer and the MLB plan. Trevor Bauer came out and said something that I'm not a big fan of. I don't like what he said. He came out and said it, and yeah, that's not, in my opinion, I didn't like that. I didn't get a good feel for that. I didn't like what he said about the whole MLB plan, so we're going to talk about that. But let's get into it. We're going to start off with Myles Garrett. Here we go. Let's get into it. So Myles Garrett wants a new contract, or the Browns, or he wants a new contract. And like I said, I'm not a big fan of Browns. I don't like the Browns. Few reasons. I don't like their fans. Their fans, in my opinion, are very cocky. They're very, we're going to win this game, we're going to do this, we're going to make the playoffs, we're going to win the Super Bowl. I don't really like that kind of fan base. I like a passionate, humble fan base. I'm not a big fan of fan bases that go out there and, are kind of cocky. Oh, we're going to win the Super Bowl. We're going to win the Super Bowl. 3 years ago, you were 0-16, right? It's just, no. Now, do I think the Browns are going to make the playoffs this season? No. I'm not a big fan of the Browns. Here's my reasoning. I don't like their fan base. I don't like their quarterback at all. I can't stand Baker Mayfield. He's very cocky. He's a lot of words and he hasn't shown it. He's a lot of talk and he hasn't really shown anything for all of his talk that he does. Oh, I'm the best. Oh, I'm this. What have you accomplished in the 2 years you've been in the league? Right? He hasn't done anything really. Right? And you could say the same about Sam Darnold on the Jets, but Sam Darnold hasn't went out there and kind of chat a lot. He hasn't went out there and said all this stuff about how good he is and everything. He hasn't blamed the games on his teammates, and Baker Mayfield's kind of like that, and he hasn't shown for any of the talk that he's done. I don't like Beckham. I don't like Odell. He's on that team. And number 4, I'm not a big fan of Myles Garrett. After what happened in that Steelers game last year, I don't know if you saw that game. He literally almost destroyed Mason Rudolph's head. I'm not even kidding. It was bad. And I think he got a bad punishment. He was out for the rest of the year, but I think it should have been even worse. I mean, the guy almost destroyed him. If you don't know what happened, I had no problem with Myles Garrett, right? He was normally went out there, played football. I had no problem with him. It was until that Thursday night game. Steelers versus the Browns. The Steelers, I'm pretty sure, were winning 21-7. Right? Pretty sure they were winning 21-7. Or it was 21-7. I think it was the Steelers in the lead. There was 8 seconds left in the game. I think it was something like 7 seconds left in the game. And what happened is the play happened, right? Mason Rudolph called hike, dropped back, threw the ball. Myles Garrett comes in there and sacks him, right? it was, in my opinion, a late sack. Now, every Browns fan was like, oh, did you hear what Mason Rudolph said to him? Did you hear what he said to him? I was like, no, I really didn't. I mean, I knew what he said to him, but everybody's like, oh, Mason Rudolph said some sort of racist comment to him, said this to him, called him this, called him whatever. I'm not going to say what he called him, but he supposedly called him some mean words. Now, yes, that's bad. Okay, I understand that's bad, right? That shouldn't be allowed. You're not supposed. I mean, it's the NFL. They're always calling each other names. People say though Mason Rudolph tried to rip off his helmet first. Here's my whole thing with Mason Rudolph, right? I actually kind of agree with Mason Rudolph that it was a late sack. Okay, it was a late sack. He threw the ball, and 2 seconds after he threw it, Myles Garrett just comes in there and wrecks him. Then he's on top of him for a good 5-6 seconds. He's just laying on top of him. And you know Mason Rudolph, he's going to try to get off him, supposedly try to take off his helmet. And what happened was, he tried to take off his helmet or whatever, and Myles Garrett ends up lifting him up by the helmet. Mason Rudolph lifts him up by the helmet, rips off his helmet. Mason Rudolph goes after Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett takes the helmet, slams him like right here on the head, and it was a penalty, suspended for the rest of the year. Now, that could have gotten really bad. It could have gotten ugly. If he would have took the helmet, smashed him onto the side, who knows what could have happened. I don't even want to think about what could have happened. He barely, that's not supposed to happen. Myles Garrett ended up getting suspended. And you know how all the players, they always say, oh, I don't know why I did this, my actions were horrible, blah, 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 right? But in the heat of the moment, I get it. The adrenaline's pumping. You're not thinking about what it's going to do to you. But can you be that dumb to take a helmet off of a quarterback and whack him across the head? I mean, just come on. I get, okay, maybe pushing, shoving, maybe a punch, maybe you didn't mean to throw a punch, you're just used to it, but to have a helmet in your hand, people say, oh, he didn't know he had the helmet in your hand. How do you not know he had a helmet in your hand? You ripped it off of his head, right? You ripped it off of his head. How do you not know you had it in your hand? Oh, he said, oh, I didn't know I had it in my hand, right? I mean, come on, really? I mean, come on. You ripped it off of his head, and you whack him with it. If you didn't have the helmet in your hand, you wouldn't have whacked him with your regular hand, right? You wouldn't have reached. And Myles Garrett got suspended for the rest of the season. Since that play, I'm not a big fan of Myles Garrett anymore. It was a dirty play. I don't agree with it. I think he really could have ended Mason Rudolph's career. I don't like Mason Rudolph either. I don't like either of them. But I gotta be on Mason Rudolph's side on that. I mean, Mason Rudolph, it's a quarterback versus a defensive end. Who's gonna win? Probably the defensive end, right? Myles Garrett, in my opinion, I really think he's a top 5 defensive end in the league. He's one of the best defenders in the league. I just don't like him. Right? I had no problem with it. I mean, he was normal. He went out and played. But ever since that one play, I don't like him anymore. You can't trust him. I mean, he's been dirty his whole career, but nothing where he's going to whack a guy in the face or in the head with a helmet. You took it from, okay, all right, I was a little dirty and I was, doing this. He makes Ndamukong Suh look like a good player in that play. He makes Ndamukong Suh look good after that play. And Ndamukong Suh, you can make the arguments, one of the dirtiest players of all time. I mean, some of what Ndamukong Suh did was horrible. Stepping on guys' hands, stepping them in places you shouldn't be stepping. He makes Ndamukong Suh look good. But back to the point here with Myles Garrett and the Browns kind of contract situation. They want to give him Myles Garrett. Is he deserving of the money? I mean, if he can straighten up himself and he doesn't have any of those moments again where he's throwing or where he's whacking helmets across a guy, he's not a horrible. He's a very good player. Like I said, I would rank him as a top 5 defensive player in the league. You can make the argument he's the best defensive end in the league. I think Bosa on the 49ers might be a little bit better, but I still think, I think Bosa on the Niners might be a little bit better. The stats don't show, but like I said this yesterday, I think, with Quinn and Williams, everybody worries about the sacks. Everybody's like, oh, this guy only has 5 sacks, he's not good. Oh, this guy only has 2 sacks, he's horrible. You can't go by all the sacks. You got to go by the pressures, you got to go by the solo tackles, you got to go by which Myles Garrett isn't great in solo tackles. You got to go by the forced fumbles. You got to go by, he's a defensive end, so he's not going to have many interceptions, but you could go by the interceptions if you're talking about a linebacker or something, because linebackers can get interceptions, right? Some people look, oh, he has 5 sacks. Some people compare one stat. Sometimes people compare one stat, and it's almost like that. Each sport has its own stat that everybody compares. I can name it, right? Hockey, goals per game. Okay, this guy gets this amount of goals per game. He's 1 goal per game. Right? In baseball, ERA. Everybody always just compares the ERA. Oh, this guy has this ERA. Okay, all right. He has a 2 ERA. He's a 5 ERA. He's trash. Right? Everybody in baseball, football, it's the same thing. Sacks, basketball, it's points per game. Everybody compares the points per game. This guy's 17 points per game. This guy's 25. This guy's better. Each sport has its stat that everybody compares. A lot of people, actually, I shouldn't say, a lot of people compare assists in hockey. Oh, this guy has 5 assists. This guy has 2. That guy's better. Right? Each sport has its stat. I really think NFL, the sacks get a little out of hand. Like, oh, this guy has 6 sacks. He's so good. You can't just go by the sacks. You got to go by the solo tackles. You got to go by the combos. You got to go by the interceptions. You got to go by the forced fumbles. You got to go by the QB pressures. You can't just go by the sacks. Yeah, sacks are good and everything, but there's more to it. There's more to playing defense than just sacks, and that's why I believe Bosa might be a little bit better than Myles Garrett. But I believe you can really make the argument that they're both about the same. You look at the stats. Yeah, Myles Garrett has better sacks than him. Yeah, but when you look at the stats, everything else is pretty much even. I mean, I'll say it myself. I sometimes do it. I go ahead and straight ahead and just look at the stats. Or look at the stats. I'm getting sacks and stacks mixed up. I sometimes do it myself. I will. I do this sometimes myself. I'll admit it. I sometimes look at a player's stats and say, oh, this guy's only got 3 sacks. He's not that good. But then you look at his other stats and maybe he's more of a run stuffer. Maybe he's more of a QB pressure but doesn't finish the play. Maybe he's more of a kind of a guy that bats passes. Maybe like a corner. Everybody looks at the interceptions. You got to look at more of the interceptions. You got to look at the batted passes. You got to look at like if he's a good corner or a safety at blitzing. You got to look at how many times he's sacked. That's when you can look at sacks. How many times blitzing? Yeah, sacks very important, but is it the most important stat? No, every stat's about equally important. And I'm gonna run through his stats. And tell you why I think he deserves it. I think he deserves the money, right? If they're going to give him the money. Like I said, I don't like him, but I'll give credit where credit's due. He's one of the best defenders in the NFL, in my opinion. I don't like him after that play, but I really believe he's one of the best defenders in the NFL. So, Myles Garrett, solo tackles 20, sacks 10, 2 forced fumbles, and 0 interceptions was last season. I know I just went on a little bit of a rant about sacks and everything, but I just want to make this clear. He had 10 sacks in only like 7-8 games. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. And the 2 forced fumbles too is pretty good. Some players don't even have a forced fumble in their whole season. Right? The forced fumble, that stat looks very, very good. 2 forced fumbles is pretty good. He's a hard-hitting defensive end. But like I said, maybe that play affects how the Browns and other teams, if he's going to go into free agency or whatever, maybe that play affects how they're going to think about him. Okay, this guy had this dirty play. Alright, it's true. It's really true. If you have one dirty play, you have one bad moment in the NFL or MLB or NHL or NBA, any sport. Talking about golf, talking about whatever, any sport. If you have a bad moment, right, although golf doesn't have free agency, but a sport that has free agency, if you have a bad moment like Myles Garrett, let's just say 2 years from now he's going into free agency, right, and he still causes a little bit of trouble, teams might not pay him because of a couple of his moments, right? It's true, right? A team's not going to pay a guy all this money if he has off-the-field issues. A team's not going to pay this guy all this money if he's getting suspended 2-3 times every year, right? Right? That's why Vontaze Burfict. He got suspended again. I really don't know if he's going to be. You're going to find him on another team because teams can't take it. You're paying a guy to get suspended every year. Vontaze Burfict, I think, is the dirtiest player in the NFL. I think Myles Garrett might be close behind him just because of it's not just one time. He was dirty that whole season. He had a couple incidents against the Titans that game. He had a couple incidents. Obviously, the big incident against the Steelers. The Steelers incident was the huge one, right? Every player's got a little bit of dirty, and every player's a little dirty. These players, you listen to mic'd up. These players are trash talking with each other each time. There's a little bit of pushing and shoving though. But when you go to the point where you're whacking a guy across the head with a helmet, that gets a little crazy. So let's look at his games played. He had 37 games played. He's had one 16-game play season. Like I said, he's entering his 4th season. He was the first overall pick. I think he's lived up to expectations. I mean, he wasn't dirty at Texas A&M, but I think he's lived up to expectations. He was the first overall pick and everything. I think he's done pretty good. 104 total tackles. 74 total solo tackles. 12 assists, or 30 total assists. He has 30.5 sacks. 2018, he had a huge season with sacks at 13.5. 30.5 sacks, 6 forced fumbles. He had 1 fumble return. And, yeah. That's what he got for the defense. Like I said, the 37 games played, he's only had one 16-game season. His first season, 2017, he had 11 game season. 2018, he had a 16-game season. 2019, he had a 10-game season. Obviously, last year he got suspended after, I guess, week 10. I guess that was when it was. But like I said, so back to the point. Should they pay him the money, or if he's going to get the bounty? I think it's $25 million. Yeah, I do. I think you give him the money. But I think you don't go ahead and give him it right now. Almost like what I was saying about the Packers and Aaron Rodgers, or about Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. You might want to see how Dak does one more season with all the weapons he has. Right, he has CeeDee Lamb now. They just did freshly re-signed Amari Cooper. They have Michael Gallup, who's almost the most underrated receiver on that team. He's kind of the lone man out. Everybody talks about Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and Michael Gallup has a quiet, good season himself. Michael Gallup kind of reminds me of a Brashad Perryman when he was with the Buccaneers. He's kind of the lone man out, right? You have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and you have Brashad Perryman. Now you have CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper, and you have Michael Gallup, right? You could make the argument the Cowboys have the best receiving corps, so maybe you wait until the end of the season to pay Dak. If he doesn't have a good season, then you go ahead and say you can't throw it to 3 good wide receivers, then you're out ski. Almost like with the whole Aaron Rodgers thing. Maybe you play him one more year, and then maybe he says, I'm leaving, or maybe you see how he plays one more year. Maybe if he plays stellar, he wins MVP, maybe you keep him, right? I think this is the same thing with Myles Garrett, except not how he plays. How he's gonna play is part of it, but if he doesn't play dirty, if he plays clean, if he's not getting in trouble, he's not, on and off the field issues. He hasn't had any off the field issues, but if he's on the field, if he's playing clean, if he doesn't get suspended, he's kind of a new Myles Garrett, right? Then you re-sign him. But I don't know if you're gonna give him $25 million right now, right this day, for him possibly this season to go get suspended again, right? You think you gotta watch out a little bit. I don't think he will, because I think he learned from his mistake. That's one thing I gotta give to Myles Garrett. I think he learned from his mistake, and I think he truly meant that I know some players say that, my actions were unbelievably bad. Vontaze Burfict has said that millions of times, and yet he's still gotten suspended 3-4 times after he said that, right? He doesn't live up to his word. I think Myles Garrett will. That's one thing I will give to Myles Garrett. I think he's living up to his word and everything, but like I said, I think Myles Garrett, I don't know if you pay him now, maybe you pay him at the end of the year, and then you say, okay, if he has a clean season this year, doesn't cause any trouble, doesn't cause the team penalties, doesn't do anything bad to this team, then you go ahead and say, hey, you know what? We're going to re-sign you, or we're going to sign you bigger contract, and obviously on the field wise too. Like if he has a horrible season, I don't think he's going to want $25 million, or they're going to want to give him $25 million, right? You got to also go by that. But I think also the big part too is if he has a clean season and doesn't cause any trouble. So that's what I got for Myles Garrett. Comment down below if you think Myles Garrett should get signed all that money, or if you're a Browns fan, do you want him to get signed all that money? Comment down below. So, like I said, I always give everybody, if you comment, usually I give you, if I like your comment or whatever, I usually give you a thumbs up. I'll give you a thumb up, so you'll see like 2 thumbs up on your comment or whatever. That's usually me. I'll give you a thumbs up. So I like when you guys comment. It's nice. I appreciate it, obviously when you say like nice video and stuff, because I do this for fun. I do this for fun. Obviously I'm not getting paid or anything to do this. I just do this for fun, and it's nice to see that you guys watch. Enjoy the videos too, because I do this so then you guys can watch and give you guys some. That's why I started back up now. I took a little bit of a break, not 2 years. You can go back if you're just starting, or if you forget why I stopped on this network, you can go back to my first podcast back. But I took a little break for a couple of months, and now I'm back because I'm trying to give you guys some entertainment, obviously. So I love when you guys, when you guys comment down below and stuff. Even if it's just saying nice video and stuff, I really like that. So now we have some home field advantage. NFL. So a thing came out today on CBS Sports, and it was about, I was like, okay, I was looking for one more topic. I was going to talk about Tua, but I think I'm going to push Tua back to tomorrow. Tua got his contract for his rookie contract. That happened like Monday. It's a little late, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. It's a pretty big contract. I'm going to read and say, if he's going to start week 1, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to do that tomorrow, though. I'm pretty sure. If not tomorrow, I'll do it another day, though. So I was looking at home field advantage, and I was like, all right, home field advantage. And I actually got thinking about it. Like, if there's no fans, because of everything that's going on, if there's no fans to start off the NFL season, it could really impact some teams in a positive way and impact some teams in a negative way. Like, for example, it could impact the Chiefs and the Seahawks and the Saints, because I think those are the 3 loudest stadiums in the league, in a negative way. Right? When you go to the Seahawks, when you go to the Chiefs, when you go to the Saints, like, here's my top 3 loudest stadiums in the league. I think it's the Seahawks number 1, then it's the Saints number 2, then it's the Chiefs number 3. If we're talking about loudest outdoor stadiums, Seahawks, then Chiefs. Right? I think Saints is obviously the loudest indoor stadium. Because, Colts and Falcons, and then if I'm missing anybody else, they're loud, but they're not nearly as loud as the Saints. But they could really affect teams. 3 teams especially. I really believe they could affect, in a negative way, the Seahawks, the Saints, and the Chiefs. Because they have the 3 loudest stadiums in the league, I believe. And when you have to go play at any one of those stadiums, you ask teams, you ask players, you ask coaches, they hate it. They regret it. They do not like playing at Seahawks, Chiefs, or Saints stadiums. They don't. They really, really, really despise it. They can't stand it. You ask, if you ever got a chance to ask a coach that have had that, even teams in the division, for example, teams in the Seahawks division, or teams in the Chiefs division, the Raiders, the Broncos, teams like that, Saints, you have the Buccaneers, you have the Falcons, you have the Panthers, teams like that in your division. Right, and then you have, the Seahawks, and why I put the Jets into this is because the Jets have to play at both the Chiefs and the Seahawks on the road. Now, I pulled up the schedule here. The Jets play the Chiefs November 1st, and the Jets play the Seahawks December 13th. So, it kind of gives the Jets a little, if they play December 1st, I think by December, like I said, I think probably the first, if anything, 4 weeks will be probably no fans in the stadium. I think I think the first 4 weeks, without a doubt, will be no fans in the stadium. I think probably the Jets versus Bills, there will be no fans in the stadium at New Era Field. Jets versus 49ers, no fans in the stadium at MetLife. Jets versus Colts, no fans in the stadium at Lucas Oil. Jets versus Broncos, no fans at MetLife. Jets versus Cardinals, no fans at MetLife. Probably Jets versus Chargers, there might be some fans at the Charger Stadium. I forget the name, though. Well, I think LA, they have a new stadium. I don't know. And then obviously Jets versus Bills, MetLife and all that, they will all be home. Or they will probably allow fans in the stadium by then. But, let's just say, we're going to go into some of the virus aspect of this. This really, like fans in the stadium, I'm not even kidding, could really, really hurt or positively impact teams. Like, it could hurt teams, one, because, it could probably hurt every team. It's probably going to have a negative impact on every team. Because, you sometimes feel your energy from that fan base. Sometimes if you're playing bad, the fans start to get in there, they start to chant, they start to get into it, and you kind of feel that energy, and then you guys can start playing good. But if you're down 10-0 fourth quarter and there's no fans there and you're quiet and it just doesn't sound right, and you have no energy to feel, you have no energy to kind of come off of, right? Fox did say that they might have artificial. Joe Buck came out yesterday and said it's almost a guarantee that they're gonna have like artificial noise. So like during the broadcast, you're gonna hear like just a bunch of like fan noise. I don't know how it's gonna be weird though. Because I don't know how they're gonna put it in. Technology these days are crazy. Am I right? I don't know how they're gonna put it in so it sounds like real crowd noise, so you can hear them and you can hear the quarterback. Because I don't want it just to be a big just a bunch of yeah, and then you can't even hear the broadcasters or anything. It would be weird, but hey, like I said, I would love to have fans in the stadium. It brings that cool environment, loud. Even if you're watching from home, right? It still gets you hyped up because of how loud it is. The crowd, the team obviously gets energy off of the fans and everything. It hypes you up. I would love to see fans in the stadium. If it comes down to, it's either we don't play football until we can allow fans in the stadium, or we play football and there's no fans in the stadium. I would pick play football with no fans in the stadium, right? Just because. I just want to see football back. Sports in general. If you were to tell me today, fans are allowed to do a survey. Everybody's doing a survey. If you would rather baseball come back when fans can be allowed into the stadium, or would you rather be baseball with no fans? I would pick no fans, because baseball with fans in the stadium, that's outrageous. That ain't happening until next season, right? Now let's just go into the virus aspect of this. Let's just say they find a vaccine by July, August. Maybe, and people start to get vaccine for it, the spread kind of just halts. It's pretty much stopped. It turns into almost a flu where people are getting it, but it's not where they have to shut everything down. Right? I think you're going to have to start, I think you're still going to have to wear masks and stuff for a while now. I think even if they find a vaccine, because, you got to start to find positive impacts from the vaccine. You can't just say, oh, here's a vaccine, now everybody back to normal, right? Because if the vaccine doesn't work, then we're going to be back into the situation we're in now, where you have to close everything down, and then you have to start off from square one again, right? So you're probably gonna have to wear a mask for the rest of 2020, I would imagine, and maybe a little bit into 2021. So if you're gonna have a fan into the stadium, they're gonna be in any sport league. I think the only reasonable league to see fans in the stadium in 2020 is gonna be NFL. Baseball, no. NBA, definitely no. And the NHL, they said they're probably not gonna come back. So I might have some more on that tomorrow about the NHL. They said the season's probably over. They're just gonna cancel it, right? But I would be okay with no fans, right? But it could positively impact teams, because, for example, if the Jets have to go to Kansas City and there's no fans in the stadium, I think there'll be fans by December 13th against the Seahawks. But November 1st against the Chiefs, if the Jets have to go there, now you're looking at it, oh, no fans, the crowd noise, you're going to have no crowd noise. The Jets it's almost going to be it's almost home field advantage isn't even a thing with no fans. It's not even a thing, right? It's really not. Home field advantage is nothing with fans. I never thought it, I've never heard about this, but it's almost like for the road team, they put loud, they put in their ears, they put fan noise just because it makes it like that, but that wouldn't be right. But really, home field advantage isn't even a thing if there's no fans. The Jets play week 1 against the Bills at New Era Field. There's no fans allowed in the Bills stadium, right? What's the point? Now, I did just think of this. Maybe they allow fans outside of the stadium so you can watch it outside. You have to socially distance, obviously, and they only allow maybe 50 to 100 people outside of the stadium. And they wrap around, right? Because you could see in from there. And maybe you get some crowd noise from there. It's still not going to be normal. Right? That's what I think. I think it's going to be, I think definitely probably the first 4, 5, 6 weeks of the season, you'll probably see no fans. And I think, if anything, the earliest, probably the first 3, 4 weeks. The latest, probably 6, What's going to probably happen is probably after week 5 they might allow fans in the stadium. I definitely think week 1 without a doubt. Unless if they come up with a vaccine in like a week or 2 or like in July and it works and all of a sudden the virus is, all of a sudden it's slowed down and life's back to normal, then you'll see fans week 1. But I don't think you're going to see fans week 1, without a doubt. You're not going to see fans week 1, I don't think. Mark my word, if by September or whatever, September 13th is when the Jets start, by ever that first Sunday of NFL season, if there's fans in the stadium and life's back to normal, then mark my word, I'll admit it, I just don't see it happening. But what I'm saying is I really believe, like, if the Jets have to go to Kansas City and there's no fans there, I'm not saying the Jets would win. I think it might be a little bit closer because the Jets aren't going to have to deal with that noise. Teams having to go to New Orleans. Teams having to go to stadiums on Monday Night Football. Like, if you have to go to Seahawks on Monday Night Football, that would be horrible. Going to Seahawks on Monday Night Football, it's almost like primetime games. It's even 10 times louder. You go there with no fans, it could really help you out. You could maybe come out of there and squeak out of there with a win because you don't have any of the fan noise, right? You don't have to do these double snap counts. You don't have to do these, you don't have any, right, like I said, it almost happened last year with the whiteout game. It was Michigan versus Penn State. First play, Michigan had to call a timeout because the noise was so crazy, right? Penn State this year, the whiteout game might not have any fans in it. Then any of these teams could come into there and beat them because there's no fans. It's crazy how much of fans make an impact. It really is. Loud fans or not loud fans, they make an impact. Like I said earlier, if you're doing bad, your team's struggling, and the fans start to hype you up, fans start to chant, fans start to get loud, you can catch on to that energy, and all of a sudden you play better, and all of a sudden you find yourself from down 14-0 in the fourth quarter to you winning by 3. It's really crazy with the impact of fans. Right? A lot of people don't realize it, but no fans in an NFL stadium would be really interesting, but I just want sports to be back. I said this. I just want sports to be back. And luckily I'm a baseball fan, because if you're not a baseball fan out there, baseball's looking like it's going to be the first sport back. Sorry to all NHL fans. I'm pretty much saying sorry to myself. It doesn't look like NHL is coming back. NBA, it's a little shady. NBA says they are, and then they say, oh, we're going to come up with a plan from like a month from now, and you're like, a month? And then, like, when are you going to start basketball? August? Right? And, like I said, I'm going to talk about that, I think, tomorrow to the NBA, And, to go into the money aspect of it, but it's just crazy, with everything going on. I just hope things get back to normal soon. Obviously, you always hope, I don't know if I was the only one. I bet you I wasn't the only one, but I on April Fool's, I was just hoping this was the world's biggest April Fool's prank. But, obviously it's not. So, we're way past April Fool's. We're a good month and 13 days past April Fool's, right? Because it's April 1st, it's May 14th, so 13 days, yeah. A good month and 13 days or whatever, 14 days, whatever, from April Fool's. But home field advantage will definitely be interesting. Definitely will be interesting with everything going on. So that's what I got for the home field advantage. Now we're going to a thing Trevor Bauer said, and MLB pitcher. So Trevor Bauer came out yesterday and said the MLB's restart plan, or the MLB's restart proposal, is laughable. Laughable. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of Trevor Bauer. I don't have any. It's not like he's a rival to the Yankees or anything, right? It's not like anything like that. He plays on the Reds. It's nothing like that. But he said the MLB's plan is laughable, and I said this yesterday, no, I said it Tuesday, because on my list yesterday, the players, all-time players, Jets roster, and NLDH. That's what I talked about yesterday. Tuesday, I talked about the MLB plan. Now, I said it. I called it. This is why I'm going to give myself the credit here. I called this one. I said it's got to get past the Players Association. And I said that's going to be the hard part. Owners and everything, they're going to want baseball back, but it's going to be the players that might not. So Trevor Bauer comes out and says the MLB's restart proposal is laughable. Adam Jones calls for star players to speak out. Now, I get it, right? Now, this is what Adam Jones said. It's time for the big guys in the MLB to speak up. That's your time to speak. Stop holding your tongue. People follow and listen to you. Not going to name names because there's a lot of people. Who cares what you make? You earn it. You earned it. Who cares about backlash? Time to speak up. And so Trevor Bauer comes out and says this. My reaction to the MLB return to play proposal is laughable. My agent, or whatever agent, Rachel Luba, I think his agent is, or whatever, makes some very good points here regarding the proposal revenue split and the problems with it. So he created a YouTube video. I'm not going to go into that. But here's my whole thing. Called the proposal laughable. Now, I think this is involving the money. But I'm going to go into a little bit of fact here. Like, these players, some of these players don't even want to come back to baseball. They're saying the proposal is horrible, but then they still want to get paid. They still want to go, I want to get this, I want to get paid millions. But the proposal is laughable. But I hate the proposal. But I don't think that we should, the MLB, like, they're really messing this proposal up and everything like that. Like, I get it. I understand. I'm not trying to go on a crazy mad rant here, but what I'm trying to say is yes, I get it. Some of these players, they have families, they have young kids and everything like that. But when you say the proposal is laughable and then you complain that you're not getting paid, well, the only way you should get paid and you should earn your money by playing baseball, right? And calling the proposal laughable is crazy. I'm lost for words in a way. Because, these players want to get paid. These players want to get the money. But yet they say, I don't want to return to baseball. So what are you going to get paid for? You're just going to get paid because you're just going to sit on your couch and, be in quarantine and getting paid because you're getting paid millions being in quarantine, right? Like I just don't know. These players, they want, some of them don't want to get back to baseball for real reasons. But Trevor Bauer just coming out saying, Trevor Bauer says MLB restart proposal is laughable. And it's all because of the money. You're not even thinking about playing. Some of these players, they don't care about playing. They can care less. They're doing it for the money. Right? Manny Machado, he doesn't care if the Padres are winning or losing. He's doing it for the money. He's not playing because he wants to. He wants to play baseball, but he's not doing it. Like for example, there's a couple players out there that I think that's why you notice players sometimes play harder and don't lollygag when they're new to the league because they want to earn that big contract. Once they get that big payday, once they get that big contract, they're the top dollar guy in the league, then they start slacking, they start to go, I'm getting paid $300 million a year, it doesn't really matter to me, I'm okay, don't mind me, I'm just going to mess around over here, right? These guys, some of these players are just crazy. I've never had a bad feeling with Trevor Bauer. He's been a little bit of a hothead, I would say. I don't know if you remember, there was an incident with him against the Kansas City Royals. He wasn't having a good game. He took the ball and threw it over the center field fence. Just not an MLB type thing to do. I have never said this, but I'm very picky with my sports players. There's a couple players that I really like. There's a couple players that just annoy me. It's not even the fact that for example, the Saints. I just don't like Drew Brees. I just don't like the whole Saints team. Ever since that one incident against the Rams, yeah, sure, it was a bad call, but you don't have to complain about it for the next 3 years. Right? I watched that Mason Rudolph, or not the Mason Rudolph play, against Kyle Rudolph in the corner of the end zone. They say, it's a pass interference. I watched that play back 5-10 times. I did not see a single thing of pass interference. That's why I don't like the Saints, because their fan base is they're crybabies, right? And there's some players right now in the MLB, they're kind of being crybabies because they just want their money. And I understand, right? These players are making a living off of this. Yeah, I understand. They want their money. But when you don't even want to play and you just want to get paid, right, you're going to have to take a little bit of pay cut For example, Garrett Cole, if he gets paid however much this year, he gets paid a ton of money and they don't even play, that's a problem. Garrett Cole hasn't said anything. He hasn't came out and said anything. But, you haven't heard players from Aaron Judge. You haven't heard things. I'm not trying to say that because I'm a Yankees fan. You haven't. I'll even say it for the Mets. You haven't heard anything from Pete Alonso because these guys are all young. These guys don't have the big contracts. They want to earn their money. They want to go out there and pay. They want to play and earn their money. They don't want to just sit home and not play the MLB season and still get paid, right? And Adam Jones doesn't make it better. Oh, it's time for the big guys in the MLB to speak up. This is your time. Stop holding your tongue. People following, listening, not going to name names because there's a lot of people. Who cares? You make some earn it. Who cares about the backlash? Time to speak up. Right? I just don't know. I just a little confused here. And MLB plan laughable, yeah, because he probably didn't even look at anything else. He probably just heard about, 50-50 whatever revenue, right? Oh, we're only going to get paid half or whatever. That's why they're going to all complain about it. They didn't look at the fact that there's 14 playoff, right? They didn't look at anything else. They just cared about the money, which it's in a way it's kind of tough, but back then, the big contract was probably $100,000, right? Something like that was a big contract back then, and now a big contract, whatever, 300, 400 million. Now these guys, all they want is millions, and they're not. Like I said, you could not even have a baseball season. They just want the money, which is understandable. But what about the minor league players, right? I would see them wanting the money even more because these are minor league players. Minor league contracts aren't that big, right? And if they don't have a season, these players might have to get side jobs. There's some single A, rookie A, ball, whatever. Some of those players, they do side jobs in the off season because they're not getting paid that much, right? Even if you get paid whatever $10 million and that's not your exact contract, you're fine. Some people in the world aren't even getting paid $10 million a year. Or $10 million, these guys are getting paid $10 million a year. Some people in the world aren't getting paid $10 million in whatever, 3 years. And these guys are getting paid whatever, millions in a year. Right, I think that there's some players out there that really deserve the money, and then there's some players that just play for the money. Just play, I got the money now, I'm just going to lollygag. Manny Machado is one of them. I don't like Manny Machado. Ever since he got that big contract, I don't like it. Bryce Harper is half and half. I think Bryce Harper wants to win. But I also think Bryce Harper's doing a lot for the money too, which is understandable. These players are doing it for the money, but when players get big contracts, then you see their stats start to go down. They don't play that good because they got the money. Now they're just going to kind of lollygag, and they don't really care if their team wins. They don't really care if they win a World Series because they have the money, right? And that's why you really can't see these super teams anymore. Like I said, back then, the Bulls and all them, you had that huge team, Pippen, Rodman, Michael Jordan. Now you can't have super teams because they all want the money, right? If you can't have a team right now with LeBron, Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry. You can't have a team anymore with that kind of stuff, right? Back then, with Babe Ruth and all them, right? Joe DiMaggio, right? Can't do that anymore because everybody wants the money. Everybody wants these top dollars, and teams can't afford that. NFL, for example, Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, the 49ers, they were insane, but you can't do that anymore because you can't have too many superstars. Even now, the Lakers and all that, even AD and LeBron, they're getting low on cap space because of how much money they are. One player in general is almost sometimes the equivalent to 3 players pay. It's crazy. It's crazy. And I don't like how he said it, laughable. It's laughable. I don't know. I get it. If you're getting paid $20 million and now you're getting paid $10 million, it's a difference. But still, it's millions. It's millions. It's millions and millions. It's funny because they're complaining, and I actually wrote something on this. I actually did something on this. Are athletes overpaid? I put no. Because you deserve the money, right? You earn, the chances of making it to the MLB, I think, are 2%, right, or 2%. So when you make it to the MLB, you deserve the money. But sometimes, when players are this mad about, I'm only going to get paid $10 million this season, that's not that much. Or only, right, that's not much, $10 million. I would take $10 million right now, I'll tell you that for sure. I'll take $1 million right now. I would take millions all day. I would take $500,000 right now. I really would. I wouldn't mind a nice $1 million paycheck. I wouldn't mind. it's just crazy sometimes. Like some players, like I put that down when I wrote about it. I said, there's some players that earn the money and this stuff, and then there's some players that get the money and they still go on and playing great. And some people say that LeBron just plays for the money. I'll tell you what, LeBron doesn't just play for the money. Yeah, he's a high-paid guy, but that's because he's earned it throughout the years. Manny Machado, he's got all the money in the world, but he doesn't care. He joined the Padres. He doesn't really care. He doesn't care if they make the World Series or if they go 20-70 in a year. He doesn't mind. He's getting paid $300 million. He's all right with that. Bryce Harper, he's on the Phillies, right? I think he wants to win. You can tell he's passionate. He wants to win, but he's also doing it for money. I think the real guy I think Mike Trout, he's probably out of all of them. He's probably the guy that really, really wants to win. He probably wants to win the most. Yeah, he's got $400 million, but he I think wants to win the most. Manny Machado, he doesn't care about winning. He's just getting the money. That's all he cares about. It's the money. So that's what I got for today's podcast. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Comment down below what you think about Trevor Bauer's comments on the laughable and things like that. Adam Jones, I haven't heard of him. I've heard of him, but you haven't heard him much in the past year. He left the Orioles. He was the starter of the Orioles, left the Orioles, went to the Diamondbacks, and you haven't really heard from him anymore. I think just because he's getting old, he's not as good as he was 3-4 years ago. You could say 3 years ago he was one of the best center fielders in the league, but now he's getting old. He's kind of out of the groove, but I wouldn't think he would come out there and say something like that. Adam Jones has been pretty quiet throughout his career. But that's what I got for today. Tomorrow, I think I got Tua. I think I'm going to talk about the NBA's plan. I think I might talk about a little bit of NHL. Just because the NHL, I heard today, the NHL, their season, they have not said anything. They have said that the chance of an NHL season coming back are slim. I don't really understand why. Because if you think about it, an NHL, it's just like an NBA season. They're almost in the same position. You could start in the playoffs. But I'm going to talk about that, right? I don't know. I really don't know. I think there's more cases in the NBA than there is in the NHL. I don't know. But the NBA is taking strides. Obviously, open up facilities. There's only 2 teams, the Trailblazers and the Cavs. But I'll get all into that tomorrow. So tomorrow's Friday, last pod of the week. But hopefully you enjoyed today's pod. Thanks for watching. Tomorrow we got another full slate. I'm pretty sure Tua, NBA and NHL will probably. And if any other news happens, like I said, I'm still on watch with that Logan Ryan news with the Jets. If he gets signed, I'll probably talk about that tomorrow. Then I'll find a way to substitute that out with another thing. But I'm still on watch, and there's still always things that could happen, right? For all we know, somebody could get traded today, and it could be the hugest thing ever. For all we know, Dak could get his paycheck in 2 minutes from now. It's crazy how sports are. You don't know. Anything could happen, really. Just how it is. So there could be any news anytime. So that's what I got for today's pod, and thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.